Hey everyone, hope you're having a great morning. Figured I'd sit here and talk to you guys while my car is defrosting this morning. It's a cold morning here, but I wanted to hop on and talk to you guys about this. Your Judas in your life does not have the final say over your destiny. Amen. You know, betrayal in our lives when it happens often comes from the people who are closest to us. It often comes from the people who are supposed to be there for us. They're supposed to be our ride or die kind of people, right? You know, maybe it's a best friend, maybe it's a spouse, you know, maybe it's a person that you really trusted in a place of ministry. There's all different scenarios, quote unquote, where this can happen in your personal life. And betrayal feels awful because often it comes from the people who you thought you could trust the most. Can we have truth talk today? Maybe it's a family member in your life. You know, and we're disappointed in those seasons and in those moments when betrayal hits us because you begin to question yourself. You begin to go, was this real at all? Like, was this fake the whole time? And, you know, the devil can come in and just, you know, absolutely rip your life apart when you've gone through a season like this. And I want to talk to you guys today about Jesus and the cross. Jesus and the cross today. You know, Jesus went through an incredibly hard time of betrayal when he was on the cross, but it had a divine purpose. Amen. Some of you guys need to know that even if the devil sent that thing in your life, it has a divine purpose. God is going to use it for his good in the long run. Amen. So Jesus was close to Judas, right? Judas was one of the ones who was there at that, you know, Last Supper when they were taking communion. He was a part of the inner circle with Jesus. He was good buddies with Jesus, right? And Jesus, you know, trusted him in times of hardship. He trusted him with his heart, all of this stuff. And yet Judas would be the one to betray Jesus. And this is so symbolic of how it is in our personal lives a lot of the time. You know, the people who betray us, maybe it's an ex-spouse of yours. You know, maybe it's a boyfriend-girlfriend from the past. Maybe it's a, you know, work relationship. You know, there's all kinds of situations where this could apply. And if we aren't careful, we can allow that stuff to harden us instead of make us better in our personal lives. You know, Judas, I was talking to you guys about this on a status this morning. Judas betrayed Jesus with a very intimate act. He kissed him, right? You know, and we think of that as such an act of intimacy. It's so fake, right? You know, because you would normally think of that as the ultimate act of trust, right, between you and another person, the ultimate act of closeness. And yet, he used that act as a distinct betrayal against the one who was trying to save him. How many of you guys have been there before? You know, maybe you have the best of intents towards someone else. You want nothing bad for them, and in one fell swoop, with one kiss, with one act, you know, they pull some sneaky deception on you, and all of a sudden you're left high and dry. All of a sudden they're not just deceiving you. All of a sudden they're not just betraying you, but they are in fact hanging you on a cross. Think about the implications of what Judas did. Judas went for temporary pleasure in his life. He took the money over his ultimate destiny, which God would have preferred for him to be with Jesus, right? God loved Judas just as much as the next person, right? God is no respecter of persons in our lives. It broke God's heart to see Judas go through all of that and to turn against him. But here's the deal. You know, Jesus had a choice. He could either use that opportunity to make him bitter. He could either be resentful, you know, throughout the process, or he could embrace that cross. He could embrace the grunt in his spirit. He could push through, you know, those hard labor pains, quote unquote. He could push through the loneliness. He could push through that season of isolation that he was about to endure on the cross to make him better and to bring about his ultimate destiny. You know, the cross brings destiny in our lives. What looks like it's ultimately going to take us out. You know, the final betrayal that we can't handle, that final thing in our lives, that final hurt, whatever it represents in your life. Sometimes we think there's no way I can get out of this thing on the other side. It hurts too bad. You know, this thing is the last straw, so to speak, and you find yourself standing there alone. There's something powerful about seasons of your life where you are forced to face God with just you and yourself. Amen. the cross was a lonely place for Jesus. The cross was a place for Jesus where he was just, faced with this agony, not only of the betrayal from the person who was supposed to be there for him the most, but the agony of the pain, the agony of the storms of life hitting him, other people's storms even, right? How many of you guys know that one person's sin and disobedience can cause storms in your life sometimes? It's not just your own sin that can cause it, bad effects on your life. Sometimes someone else's sin can send you into a down spiral of events. And that's what Jesus was facing. Judas's sin was having a dramatic and direct impact upon Jesus's life because of Judas's disobedience in that moment. And so a lot of times we dread the cross. We hate the cross in our lives. That cross represents storms. It represents, those hardships in our lives. It represents lonely seasons, isolated seasons in our life. It represents painful seasons. But what you didn't know was the cross is trying to give birth to a resurrection in your life. The power came in the cross and in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus was betrayed, he turned it into his ministry. Because Jesus was betrayed, he was able to save the whole world. And even what the devil meant for, evil in Jesus' life, what he meant for harm, Jesus flipped the script on the entire world and turned it for good. It strengthened Jesus. It propelled him into the place of destiny. And temporary, intense hardship and betrayal led Jesus into one of the most powerful encounters and something that we still remember today. Ladies and gents, I don't know who needs to hear this, but that betrayal that tried to take you out is not going to dictate your destiny. Amen. The cross feels painful when you're walking through times of, God, I don't understand this. God, why would you allow this? God, why would you do this thing to me in my life? And God's looking at you and he's going, I'm training you into being such a powerful example of my glory in your life. I'm not going to leave you here. I will not leave you nor forsake you. I will finish the plans that I started in your life. Amen. And so I want to tell you guys today, quit worrying about your Judas. Whatever that person represents in your life, whatever that circumstance represents in your life, you may think that it's all over, but God says that he is using that crucifixion, he is using that catastrophic event, that betrayal, that hurt, to launch you into your season of resurrection. And guess what? When you come out of this pit that the devil tried to drag you in, you are going to be taking everyone else with you, and your life is going to be a witness and a testimony to the glory of God. Amen. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll chat with you again soon.